to miss a player of that quality.
Well, Arsenal in their red and white shirts and white shorts against Newcastle United in their traditional colours, the black and white striped shirts and the black shorts. There is the Geordie Roar. The sun shining here on Tyneside. Blue sky, and our referee blows his whistle, who this afternoon is Chris Kavanagh, and we are also live on the World Service. So wherever you are in the world, always a pleasure to have your company. The BBC World Service taking the coverage here of BBC Radio 5 Live for a game that at the top of the table that is so crucial if Arsenal are to keep Manchester City within their sights. What will be interesting is what, if anything, Newcastle do with Ødegaard, who's been such a key player for Arsenal, but he's been influential away from home. Yet he had Manchester City did a job on him, kept him out of the game. Let's see what Newcastle do, if anything, with Ødegaard. As in the sunshine in front of the East Stand on that far side, the ball is played back to Jorginho, who looks towards Ødegaard, but the header away by Botman. And then Willock up against his former side, gets it forward, he streaks ahead. Isak will pass the ball to Willock, who goes away from Kiwior, left-hand side, delivers a pacey cross. Murphy brings it under control. Murphy hits the post. Left-footed shot, strikes the base of the left-handed post. Arsenal get the ball away.
Oh,
what a start that would have been.
Listen to that roar. That tells you everything about the start that Newcastle have made. What a break that was. Ability from Joe Willock, steps passes the Arsenal midfield and then drives into the penalty box. He just ghosted past Kiwior like he wasn't there. And Jacob Murphy, who's in great form, and lucky not to put it in the far corner.
I had that at 76 seconds, that Murphy striking the post. It is going to be interesting to see how Isak and Wilson play together. The first time in the Premier League that they've started a game. Isak, who caused Everton all sorts of problems at Goodison, and in fact had set up a goal for Murphy with some wondrous play down the left-hand side. Newcastle coming forward once more with Trippier, but already the tempo as the ball has been lost in the midfield. Here is Willock to Isak, first time shot, sliding challenge comes in from White to divert the ball behind for a corner, and Arsenal on the back foot.
Well, Arsenal are getting overpowered in midfield early on. Jorginho's been bustled to the floor by Callum Wilson, and then that time Joe Linton, he's in on Xhaka, wins the ball back off him and then feeds it out to Joe Willock, who then passes it to Isak, and you have to say it was good defending by Ben White, but this is a really positive start by Newcastle.
Teams from North London this season know all about being blown away in the early stages. Tottenham fans will certainly not need reminding of their experience recently here at St James's. Trippier with the corner, goes deep towards the far post, and it was Isak who couldn't keep his header in play, and it goes out of play into the Leesy's end, away towards that left-hand side, and it will be a goal kick for Arsenal, who could easily be a goal down had that Murphy. I mean, that was a matter of what, centimetres?
Yeah, it was a lovely strike from Jacob Murphy, who cuts inside on his left foot, just tries to set it out past the post and bring it back round. He can't quite do it, and Ramsdale was beating all ends up. Just fortunate that the post helped him.
Ramsdale taking his time, all in yellow away towards her left. What a commanding header that was from Cher in the air, and Murphy races after this ball. Gabriel comes across, slides into the challenge. Murphy wants to take the throw quickly for Newcastle on that far side, the right, as they play from right to left. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. We've brought you Celtic's victory at Tynecastle by 2-0 as they've crowned champions of Scotland. Back-to-back titles for Ange Postecoglou's side. For Arsenal, well, they might have to just be content with runners-up to Manchester City, given Manchester City's excellent run of form of late, with a 10-match winning run in the Premier League, that it coincided with Arsenal dropping so many points in the month of April, and seeing that 8-point lead at the top just disappear. Now Ramsdale's testing the patience of the Newcastle supporters. Chris Kavanagh gives him the little hurry up, and eventually he strikes it. Amazing how things change, isn't it? At the Emirates in early January, it was Newcastle who were accused of being, and they're spoiling tactics, which I think annoyed Eddie Howe. I seem to recall him getting a little bit irritated. There was a few words exchanged with Arteta in early January at the Emirates, but Ramsdale on 2 occasions now has been in no real hurry. Guimaraes has overrun that ball and loses it, and Arsenal now have it with Gabriel.
I said to you about the first 10 minutes, Deno, about how would Mikel Arteta look at his players and what would he think. He's just turned, looked at his bench and scratched his head. He is not happy at all with the start of his players. They look a little bit like rabbit in the headlights at the moment. They can't get out, they can't find passes. That's credit to Newcastle in the start they've made.
Saka is adjudged to have been fouled by Dan Burn, and a snarling Jason Tindall really did react quite angrily there to the 4th official, Anthony Taylor. Eddie Howe has tried the more conciliatory approach, and Jason Tindall and Anthony Taylor now are having words which seem to be of a more calmer manner. Does give you a great insight when we're so low down here in the main stand as to what a 4th official has got to contend with during the course of an afternoon. 6 minutes played, 0-0. White with a free kick, hoists it high. Xhaka got too much underneath it, flicked away by Murphy. Joelinton makes the run out towards the right, hits it early. Wilson will give chase, might get there yet, and in fact his persistence has paid off down by the corner flag, and tried to win a corner off the legs of Gabriel, but there was Zinchenko. But as soon as Arsenal receive the ball, they're coming under real pressure. The intensity about Newcastle in these opening 7 minutes is very, very strong.
Well, I'd take the Newcastle midfield over Arsenal's for intensity and speed of running. I'm surprised that Jorginho's been picked today, just because you know that when you look at Willock, Joelinton and Guimaraes, power, athleticism, ability to win the ball back, and Arsenal are struggling with that.
It's the voice of Stephen Warnock. The corner is rolled short, then played to Trippier, who pulls it back. Guimaraes, first time blocked. They're appealing for handball. Referee's given the penalty. Chris Kavanagh, with hardly any hesitation, awards the penalty to Newcastle United at the Leeds' end from that first time strike from Guimaraes. The Arsenal players protest. VAR will naturally have a look. And it might have been Kiwior, the player.
Well, I think they're saying, Kiwior's saying it's come off his thigh, then onto his hand, and that's why they're protesting so much, the Arsenal players. It'll be interesting to see the angle again. Yeah, it looks like it's thigh first, Eno. I think this will be overturned.
The VAR is Andrew Madley. We'll be having a look at Stockley Park. He also tried to bring his arm down and away, didn't he?
Yeah, I do think this will be overturned. I'll be very surprised if he's not asked to go across to the VAR screen, have a look at it, and then overturn it. But initially, I thought it's a lovely, well-worked corner from Newcastle.
Yes,
good strike by Guimaraes, and I did think it was a penalty, and the shouts from the crowd, they were all over it as well. But they're taking the time over at VAR, and rightly so, because this is a huge decision so early on in the game.
Yeah, well, the key will be as to whether Andrew Madley instructs Chris Kavanagh to go across to the monitor, which is exactly what has just happened now. And so this tells me, is what you've told us, that this will be overruled.
Yeah, and I think the Arsenal fans know it as well. Huge cheer went up from the Arsenal fans because they knew their team was under pressure. They fear that they've just conceded a penalty, and then when Chris Kavanagh's asked to go across to the VAR, that often means that the decision will be overturned. It's the correct decision now.
Yeah, 9 minutes in, and so once again on that far side in the sunshine on the halfway line, looking at the monitor, and will be instructed here, will Chris Kavanagh from Andrew Madley, telling him what he's seen. And this is where, I mean, there's so much at stake here when you consider that the title for Arsenal and a place in the top four, he's got to get it right. He's got supporters bellowing at him in that East Stand, but Chris Kavanagh now walks away He's got players either side of him. He has a look at the monitor, does the little square motion and says no penalty. But Stephen, you called it. You believe firmly that is the correct decision.
Yeah, absolutely. It's come off the knee, or off the thigh, sorry, then onto the arm. It's definitely not a penalty. But I don't know why the Newcastle fans are so irate, because it's clear. They go to the monitor, they look at it, and when it's a handball, we know more often than not that it's the correct decision. Now it's up to the Newcastle fans, as you can hear, responding in the right way, because it's been a brilliant start from their team.
Well, it was almost a roar out of defiance, and then the boos and the jeers. So already we've had a talking point inside 10 minutes here on BBC Radio 5 live in the World Service, and Jason Tindall again is in the ear of the fourth official. Kick downfield from Ramsdale. It remains Newcastle 0, Arsenal 0. Ødegaard picks it up. Xhaka scoops it out. Trippier snaps into the challenge, and it goes in favour of Arsenal. They take it quickly. Martinelli goes to ground. Trippier shouts down at him. Already that bit of ill feeling just starting to come into this contest here at St James's Park. The crowd are up for it. They're always up for it here at St James's, particularly in the current campaign, as they push for a top four finish and the return to rubbing shoulders with Europe's elite for the first time in 20 years.
Gotta say, Deno, I think we're in for a treat today. This has got all the makings of a great game.
Martinelli, excellent sliding challenge by Cher, who then slips as he clears. Doesn't quite reach Wilson, but he'll get there. Profited from a lapse there by Gabriel, and then Cher gets in front of Martinelli with another clearance as he stepped out of defence. Isak under pressure from Ødegaard. Back it goes to Botman. Guimaraes takes over, almost caught in possession by Ødegaard. Had to wriggle away from the Arsenal captain, and to Cher, and then a steadying influence from Trippier, who just says to Cher, just slow down, calm down, as it remains 0-0. But Guimaraes has lost it. Gabriel Jesus now 30 yards from goal. That was a clear foul from the two Brazilians, and it was the Newcastle midfielder who gives away the free kick.
They had to make up for an error, turning into Granit Xhaka, giving the ball away. And it was a dangerous passage of play from Arsenal. They could have been in at the back four. Guimaraes just almost rugby tackles Jesus to the floor. Good foul from Guimaraes. This is a dangerous position for Arsenal. They could just find a route into the game with a simple set piece.
Well, they need a little bit of respite, don't they? Because they've come under a lot of pressure in these opening 12 and a half minutes under the clear blue skies on Tyneside. It remains 0-0. Ødegaard with the free kick. Newcastle United, a line of black and white stretched out across the edge of the penalty area. In it goes now, headed away by Bird. White heads it to Saka. Right side of the area, Saka to Jorginho. Jorginho waits, he goes square and in field. Ødegaard to shoot from distance and scores! Left-footed, and he finds the bottom right-hand corner. Arsenal's first attack really of this game, and it brings a goal, and it's Ødegaard leading from the front. 1-0 to Arsenal.
What a beautiful strike from Ødegaard. They haven't even been in the game, Arsenal, but they just keep the ball alive as Dan Burn clears it. Jorginho's patient. He finds Ødegaard, and he's got one thing in his mind, and only one thing, is to get the strike away. My only thought initially was Gabriel Jesus in the line of the goalkeeper and offside? He's not. He's definitely not. Nick Pope, should he be beaten from that range? Is it too easy? Goes through a cluster of players. It actually goes through Botman's legs and into that bottom corner. Really good strike from Ødegaard.
Interesting, isn't it, when we said early on in the commentary about what do you do with Ødegaard, and what was he, close to 30 yards out from goal, so much space, and he had time to control it and hit it low. And Ødegaard, I think I'm right in saying that only Kane and Haaland have actually been involved in goals more away from home than Ødegaard. That's his 9th goal, and he's had 3 assists so far in his away fixtures for Arsenal. He is such a key figure for them on their travels, and it's his goal that prompts the Arsenal fans to chant 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Yeah, he's a brilliant player, isn't he? So difficult to tie down, find out, try and get hold of what he's so good at, which is getting in those pockets of space and causing problems. But he can pick a pass and he's deadly from outside the box. We saw many times this season shots from outside the box that have just been so precise.
It's his best scoring season of his career. It takes his tally to 15 for the season, and Arsenal, looking to move to within a point of Manchester City, are leading by a goal to nil. And high up in the gods, away towards our left hand side, are the Arsenal supporters who've made that long trek from North London. They do have the best away record in the Premier League, 36 points from the 17 games, and already 1-0 up as Pope, all in a light green outfit. Murphy gets away from his man, steadies himself in the penalty area, but Martinelli, tracking back, did ever so well just to take it away off his toes. Murphy's already hit a post for Newcastle United. Joel Linton with a thunderous challenge to win it back. Now it's played to Murphy, right side of the area with the cutback. Hasn't been cleared at the first attempt. It has at the second by White. You can't take your eyes off the game.
Wow, Martinelli felt that. Joel Linton's just hit him like a battering ram, sent him off his feet, hit the deck. But that's how they're winning the ball back, Newcastle, high up the pitch with the real intensity. Jacob Murphy, as the ball fell to him, it was just pushed a little bit too wide. I thought he'd be able to get a first-time shot in at goal. He wasn't allowed to. Martinelli did well to recover and win the ball back.
Back it goes to Ramsdale, all in yellow, away towards our left. Didn't get any elevation with the clearance, but he did find the red and white shirt in Ødegaard. They go back to Kivior, Jorginho now to White. White passes the ball forward, out of play it goes. And then annoyed Arteta, just you can hear him actually shouting to White, come on, and clapping his hands, and then trying to whir his wrists around to get White at it. I think he thought that was just a little bit lax from the England international, as Joel Linton. Guimaraes toe ends the ball back to Botman, to Cher. Arsenal fans are singing high up in the gods. They lead by a goal to nil. Trippier hits the ball long. Murphy making the run. One bounce through to Ramsdale.
Well, he weathered the storm, Arsenal, didn't he? And then he hit them on with a sucker punch. Now they're starting to grow into the game. But Newcastle will come back. They'll keep believing with this crowd behind them.
Here is Guimaraes making strides through the midfield. Out to Murphy. Back inside to Guimaraes. Passes the ball to Trippier on the run right hand side. Murphy now passes the ball back midway through the Arsenal half to Guimaraes. In field, just forward of the centre circle is Joel Linton. Every outfield player now in the left hand side of the field in the Arsenal half for Newcastle United. Willock passes the ball forward, finds Wilson, turns, Guimaraes. Runner out towards the right is Trippier, level with the area. Trippier crosses. Zinchenko knees it behind off his left leg for another corner kick to Newcastle. Really
well worked by Newcastle. Patient, but speed of the passing just shifts the Arsenal players out. And Joe Willock with a ball that just splits the midfield into Callum Wilson. It changes the momentum of the attack. Really good stuff from Newcastle.
Looking very strong down that right hand side of Newcastle United. Looking for an equaliser. Trippier with the out-swinging corner. It was Botman who tried to get on the end of it. Arsenal clear the ball away. Newcastle to Trippier. Pops it down the line to Byrne. Byrne with the cross from the right. Isak heads it back into the penalty area. Joel Linton again, a little bit overzealous, tried to make his presence felt and gave away a free kick when Arsenal were under pressure in their own penalty area. Free kick to Arsenal, who lead 1-0.
Yeah, I'm not so sure he needed to make the foul. He was never going to get there. He may as well just let Jorginho win the header and then try and win the second ball. Jorginho milks it, he makes the most of it. It's only an arm in the back and he's gone down as if he's been hit by the challenge that Joe Linton hit Martinelli with before. But they'll eat the clock. They'll just try and silence this Newcastle crowd or frustrate them, slow the game down at their own pace. Arsenal, they've got every right to do that.
Here's one for you. Arsenal are the only side in the Premier League this season who are unbeaten when they've scored first in this campaign. They've won 19 and drawn 4.
So what you're saying, we should go home?
No, things can change. As the ball is played out from the back. The way this game has started in the opening 20 minutes, you wouldn't want to leave, would you?
Oh, not a chance. This is brilliant. Some of the football already and the closing down.
You also wouldn't be able to leave after being sat in this commentary box for albeit only 20 minutes. As Ødegaard. Back to Kiwior, Polish international. Zinchenko in the centre circle, finds Ødegaard. Ødegaard looking for the run of Martinelli. Martinelli played in. Martinelli's here, saved by the legs of Pope. Flag has stayed down as well. Ødegaard picks up the loose ball, right-hand side of the penalty area, enters the box. Ødegaard with a shot, goes close. Pope got a touch, behind it goes for a corner kick. Flying save from the England international.
Well, he goes close, but no one can get close to him. Ødegaard's running the show. Lovely little ball with the outside of his foot to free Martinelli. Botman and Dan Burn put him under enough pressure that he has to take the shot early. And then Nick Pope saves it with his feet, and as it comes back out to Ødegaard, he's on the right-hand side of the penalty box and he tries to bend it into the far left-hand corner. And Nick Pope outstretches a right hand and pushes it round the post.
Arsenal could be 2 up. As it is, they lead by a goal to 0. They've worked the corner short. Jorginho on the edge of the area goes square. Saka hits it off his left foot, and it was cleared away by Trippier. They're carrying a threat, Arsenal, and certainly buoyed by that goal. 1-0 they lead.
Well, they're carrying a threat from set pieces. I mean, the goal comes from a free kick, which they end up winning the second ball on the edge of the box, and there's no Newcastle players closing Ødegaard down on the edge, and he gets his shot and scores. This time it comes out to Saka, and there's no one near him invited to shoot at goal.
Mad to think at this stage of the game, when Newcastle played Tottenham, Newcastle were 5-0 up inside 21 minutes. We're almost midway through the first half here, and it's Arsenal who lead by a goal to 0.
Yeah, but they could have been 2-0 up after 7 minutes easily.
Kavanagh gives a free kick, foul on Cher, wants to take it quickly, prevented from doing so. And then Ødegaard has picked up the ball, and it's knocked out of his hand by Cher, and Kavanagh will just have a word with Ødegaard. Still the clear blue skies above St James's Park. But the free kick from Cher goes straight to White. His forward ball to Saka. Isak slides in. Well-timed challenge. Burn now looking to bring it clear for Newcastle United. Short of the halfway line. Willock under pressure gives it away. Now Saka will exploit the gap left by Burn on this near side, the Arsenal right corner of the area, to Jesus with his back to goal. Jesus takes it away from the penalty area. Zinchenko offers himself as a central solution midway through the Newcastle half. Jorginho. Ødegaard did ever so well with a couple of touches on the stretch to keep the ball in play. And then Jorginho back to Kiwior. And now to Gabriel. Newcastle look to press. Out it goes to Martinelli on that far side. Trippier goes with him. And you can see, after what had been a shaky start, that Newcastle are certainly growing in confidence more and more.
Yeah, they've just grown into the game.
Xhaka looking for that through ball, finds Saka. Saka into the penalty area, off the chest of Pope. He reacted very, very well, did Pope.
Well, he did, but it's another break from Arsenal through the centre. This time, Cher's gone down now. He's hit the deck. He feels like he's picked up an injury, but it was far too easy for Arsenal. They get through Cher and Botman, and Saka right down the middle of both of them. And he fires the ball. Nick Pope either hits his chest or just puts an arm out, but lovely ball from Xhaka. And he just pushes a left arm out towards the ball. Nick Pope, it's fired straight at him. And that's a warning for Newcastle. They're pressing really well, Newcastle, but when Arsenal get through the press, they're straight in at Newcastle. And that'll be a concern for Eddie Howe, who's now got the opportunity to speak to his team with Cher being down.
Well, Arteta at the minute has gathered every Arsenal player around him, and he's giving an impromptu team talk on the side of the pitch. Seen him all in black, pointing to the side of his head, the temple. Now he's just making his instructions, making it very, very clear. Meanwhile, Eddie Howe has gathered in the majority of the Newcastle players, bar Guimaraes and Cher, who's getting the treatment. But Arsenal have actually created by far the better chances.
Yeah, they have. I think it was that first initial 12 minutes or so. They were under immense pressure. And he said, how will Mikel Arteta look at his men after that period? They stood strong, they weathered the storm, and now they're growing into this game, and they look dangerous every time they go forward. There's gaps in the back of Newcastle, which you wouldn't often say because they've been so defensively sound this season.
Newcastle United, 4 successive home wins before today with an aggregate score of 13-3, but they've conceded here, and Cher on his feet is coming off to the side of the pitch. So Arsenal are 1-0 up. Celtic have won at Tynecastle 2-0. Rangers there at home to Aberdeen. Gavin Wallace.
Rangers 1, Aberdeen 0. Ian Todd Cantwell's third goal in Rangers colours was the difference as Barry Robson's men lose their first match in 7. Rangers playing for pride, but despite the defeat, Aberdeen remain third in the Premiership and pole position to reach the Europa League. Rangers 1, Aberdeen 0.
Thank you, Gavin. Yep, Celtic crowned champions early with that 2-0 victory. Later on, West Ham United against Manchester United. Manchester United just 2 points behind Newcastle in the race for top 4. Liverpool, of course, putting them both under pressure, albeit they will have played a game more than both Newcastle and Manchester United at the close of play today in the Premier League. Here is Isak. Oh, that was sharp. Taxi for White. Isak is away and he's racing clear, passes the ball forward. Wilson takes it in his stride, runs out of the penalty area as a result. Gabriel goes with him, gets the foot into the challenge, and it will be a Newcastle throw. Level with the penalty area near side the left. 26 minutes played. Byrne with the throw to Wilson, to Isak on this near side. Lovely skill and pace.
It's just beautiful, wasn't it? Take on the back foot, and Ben White was sold into trying to win the ball back early. I want to see Isak on the ball more.
Here is Wilson, turns it around the corner into midfield for Guimaraes. Forward ball to Wilson. Now towards Willock. Willock hits it first time, saved by Ramsdale. The legs of Ramsdale kept it out. Couldn't get it further away from the goalkeeper. It was quite straight at him. But Ramsdale still had to make the save. And Newcastle United come close to an equaliser as Arsenal still lead by a goal to 0. We said we were expecting goals in this game as Ramsdale comes. We could have had 2 at either end.
Oh, it's just brilliant from Willock and Callum Wilson. Little interplay between the two, little give and go. Willock finds himself in space and he just can't put it in the far corner because he's under a little bit of pressure, and he fires it right down the throat of Ramsdale, who saves it with his feet as he drops to the floor. That was good play from Newcastle. What a game this is.
It certainly is. The referee's played a good advantage. There was a foul on Zinchenko by Joelinton. Now he does give a free kick, which Arsenal take very, very quickly. We're approaching the half hour. Arsenal started the day 4 points behind Manchester City, looking to reduce that to just a single point. There's Botman at the back. Waits, goes square. Cher. Trippier has gone really high up the pitch on that far side. Joelinton gets away, passes the ball forward. Murphy jumps over the ball, delivers the early cross into the penalty area. Ramsdale packs it away. Isak can't get there. White just managed to nick it away first of all. At first I thought the cross from Murphy, that'll be a foul. Free kick to Arsenal on Saka by Joelinton. He's got to be careful for persistent defending, Joelinton. He's looking like he's going to pick up a yellow the way he's going. I thought Murphy has too much to do with Wilson, but then Ramsdale just, rather than collecting it, pushed it away.
I thought it was brilliant from Murphy. He just doesn't even look up. He just puts it into an area where Callum Wilson should be, and I don't think he gambled on it early enough, but Wilson did. Wilson and Ramsdale collide, but Ramsdale wins the ball comfortably. The Newcastle fans wanted a penalty. It was never a penalty, but they've come back into the game now, Newcastle, because Arsenal are cutting through them far too easily. They've just created 2 opportunities in the space of 2 or 3 minutes.
Ramsdale goes long. There'll have to be a stoppage in play. We've got 2 balls on the pitch. White waits to take a throw midway through the Newcastle half. Now does so. That's not right. That's not right. Willock comes across to push the ball out of play. but as a result he's left his marker Jorginho. White takes a quick throw to then an unmarked Jorginho, and quite rightly the throw will be retaken. White this time biding his time to Jesus, unable to roll Botman. Down towards the corner flag he goes, and he wins a corner for Arsenal in front of the Gallowgate end, 1-0.
Great strength from Gabriel Jesus. Just a mismatch with Botman for strength, but gets his body in, makes sure that he can protect it, and then wins his team a corner.
Saka waits to take the corner on this near side. Ødegaard, the goal scorer, is available as the short option. Newcastle United have everybody back. Ramsdale's currently standing in the centre circle. The corner then is lost. Willock, as Ramsdale slowly retreats. Willock then was fouled, was he? No. And instead it's a throw that Arsenal take too quickly, and Willock then slices out of play for a throw.
I thought he just lost his footing. I thought it was a nice little bit of skill from Willock, and then he just knew that the ball was running out of play, and then he just dropped to the floor. Definitely not a foul.
White
just
with
in
the
a
throw.
replay as well, it wasn't a foul. He just dropped to the ground.
The fact that you said it was good enough for me. Here is Jorginho tidying up in the midfield. Kiwior back to Jorginho. Kiwior has been forced further back though as Isak races towards him, and the Polish international finds Gabriel. Ball gets stuck underneath his feet for a time. Pass it out to Martinelli. Challenged high up the pitch by Trippier. Wins it. Guimaraes goes square. Isak lays it off towards Wilson. And then Xhaka it is back to Ramsdale. Early clearance, left-footed away downfield. 14 minutes to go to half-time. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live, the World Service, and also available on BBC Sounds, where it's Newcastle United 0, Arsenal 1 here in the Premier League. Trippier. Joelinton away from Ødegaard. Nice take and turn by Wilson. Ramsdale, though, gathers inside the penalty area. I don't think the pace has dropped hardly at all, has it?
No, it hasn't one bit. Frantic from both teams, but some great quality as well on show.
Xhaka hits the ball forward to Martinelli. He's got Trippier tight behind him. There was no foul there, says the referee Chris Kavanagh, who had a good view of it. There's an Arsenal player who's currently down inside the meanwhile it's Martinelli coming forward. Martinelli to the edge of the area, tries the back heel. It was Xhaka, wasn't it, who was down. And it will be a goal kick to Newcastle United. He looks in some discomfort. He stayed down for a time, didn't he?
Yeah, it's unlike Xhaka, because you know that he's a tough lad. He's gone down on his haunches now. He's dropped to the ground again. He obviously felt something that he's really not happy with.
So Xhaka now sitting on the turf. Chris Kavanagh checking. This is where sometimes Arsenal have got to be careful. I mean, it looks genuine, but if you remember back to the game against Liverpool, there was that altercation with Xhaka and Alexander-Arnold. At that stage they were 2-0 up, fired up the crowd, and Liverpool had been out of sorts, then all of a sudden came back into the game. Arsenal are leading by a goal to nil, creating the better chances.
I'm just wondering what that sit down on the floor did to him to make him feel better.
Yeah.
He's just sat there for 2 seconds, got back up, but one of the Newcastle players has picked him up, and now he's running around fine. So it's gamesmanship from Arsenal.
Burn. Willock. Back he goes into his own penalty area to find Botman. Two central defenders spread quite wide apart there. It was collected by Cher, right corner of the Newcastle penalty area. And now Joelinton lifts the ball in the air to Willock. Difficult for him to control, but eventually he slips in front of Eddie Howe. A little bit soft in that area of the field. There was rain in the northeast earlier today. Not now though. Lovely, pleasant late afternoon in the northeast of England. We've been playing for 34 minutes, and the goal from Ødegaard is the difference between the two sides. After 14 minutes, Pope has made 3 other saves since. Willock has gone close. Murphy hit a post early on for Newcastle after 76 seconds. They were also awarded a penalty, which was then overruled by the VAR. Kiwior with his shaven head. Ødegaard to White. Forward ball to Saka, lays it off to Ødegaard. Now to Jorginho. Time to come forward over the halfway line. Jesus chips the ball out towards this near side, the right. Downward header by Byrne. Back it goes to Cher for Newcastle at the heart of their defence, midway through their own half. Trippier. He plays it back to Pope. It's almost as if Newcastle United, you know what you said about you'd take Newcastle's midfield over Arsenal's midfield. They're not worried about Ødegaard, are they? They're actually just got faith in their own ability. They win the ball here now with Joelinton. They've got so many runners going ahead of Joelinton. He passes the ball out wide right. Murphy then with the cross. It's a high one into the area. Ramsdale has lost it, and it's cleared away by Jorginho. Trippier back towards Cher. Newcastle will come again. Under 10 minutes to go to half time. Joelinton, pace just slows down a fraction.
It had to, didn't it? I mean, the speed at which this game's been played has just been unbelievable.
Free kick for a foul on Joelinton.
This will be dangerous. Trippier over the ball. Cher, Botman, Dan Burn going up. Isak. The size and stature of the Newcastle team.
It was actually a foul on Guimaraes. He went down far too easily, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, there must have been contact, but he's got the free kick. You see why Steve Round is just shaking his head as he has a jovial word with Anthony Taylor, the fourth official. Under 9 minutes to go to half-time. Newcastle still looking for this equaliser here on 5 Live. Midway through the Arsenal half, just a few yards in from the touchline, Trippier places the ball down. Martinelli stands 10 yards away from him. Every other player in the red and white of Arsenal is just inside the penalty area. And they're tightly grouped too. Trippier waits, runs forward now, strikes it right-footed. Doesn't beat the first man, headed away by Ødegaard. Goes back towards Trippier, plays it back into the centre circle. Murphy to Byrne, closed down by Xhaka. Byrne is going to be forced back, and then he has to go all the way back towards Pope. Saka will run towards him. Oh, that wasn't the best of clearances by Pope. Really did pull that, didn't he? Didn't get any elevation whatsoever. Last time I saw a shot like that was you on the golf course.
You heard the rumours.
He was lucky though, wasn't he? Saka was very wise to put him under pressure with his distribution, with his feet. Got away with one there. Gabriel at the other end, closed down. Out of play it goes for a Newcastle throw. 7 minutes to half time.
There's no need for that.
Sorry. You got on strike now, have you? You're making me squirm. Zinchenko from the throw.
I'm trying to think what to come back with. I've got nothing at the moment.
Who am I to talk? Free kick on Jorginho, and it'll be a free kick to Arsenal.
Do you know what was interesting though? When I was watching Nick Pope in the warm-up, he slipped about 2 or 3 times in that area. Whether it was a doubt in his mind or something, or just felt a little bit rushed. But he was so lucky that it didn't fall to an Arsenal player, because it would have been a free run at goal for them.
Yeah, it would. Here is White. Do you feel that Arsenal, I mean, they came under a lot of pressure early on, and Newcastle are trying to press and close down at every opportunity, but in terms of Ramsdale's goal, as he passes the ball out, Newcastle are pressing and they're trying to beat that press inside their own penalty area. Kiwior to Saka. Saka's legs almost gave way with the conditions underfoot. They've lost the ball now with Guimaraes to Joelinton, back towards Guimaraes. Trippier is out wide if he wants him, and here he is, the England international level of the penalty area. Still trailing by a goal to 0. Joelinton, excellent sliding challenge coming in. Before that attack, I was about to say, do you feel that Arsenal are managing Newcastle better? And then all of a sudden they come under a sustained spell of pressure.
Well, they're going to get through the press at times, aren't they? And that's the beauty of the way Arsenal play. But the way Newcastle press as well, it's almost like a toss of a coin whether they get out or Newcastle win the ball back.
Corner kick far side the right. Trippier to take it. It's an outswinger. Jesus will get there before Byrne. Botman comes across towards Jesus, keeps the ball in place, fouled from behind by Byrne. That'll be a free kick. You might have even heard the shriek and the yell from Jesus as he was sent flying forwards.
He didn't need to make that foul, Dan Burn, and I don't think Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall down in front of us were too happy about it. They felt that he was running out of grass, he was running out of room where to go, and Botman was on the cover.
White in no hurry to take the throw. Arsenal still have the lead. Looking to move to 81 points. 82 points, incidentally, at this stage when they won the title back in 2004. So sometimes you need to just take your hats off and just say to Manchester City, the standards that they are setting.
Very difficult to keep up with that quality. Oh, he's nicked it.
Odegaard away from Joel Linton. Odegaard's got Martinelli out wide. Odegaard to Martinelli. Martinelli's forced out wide and shoots across the face of goal. And in fact, it goes out, I think, for a throw rather than a goal kick.
Yeah, poor throw-in from Dan Burn. A square throw into Joel Linton, who's got nowhere to go, and Odegaard gets away. Joel Linton recovers into position. I wondered whether he'd give a foul away just on the edge of the box, but Odegaard didn't ask for it, but Martinelli drags his shot horribly wide and it goes out for a throw-in. But that's the danger again against this Arsenal team. Don't feel like you're comfortable getting back into the game because they've got such quality.
Here is Jesus, foul on Botman, pushes him out of the way. Jesus runs it down the touchline. Botman takes a quick throw towards Pope inside his penalty area. 4 minutes to go to half-time. Too much of a hurried clearance from Newcastle. Little fortuitous how it reaches Murphy, and then he thought he'd lost it, and then the referee Chris Kavanagh gives a free kick. Ball tossed away by Martinelli. Newcastle have a free kick 6 yards inside their own half. Eddie Howe does a large 360-degree turn to make his way back towards the dugout down below. Newcastle send everybody forward. Arteta thinks that his players are sitting too deep. He's trying to usher them out from the sidelines. Still, they must be, 30 yards away from Ramsdale's goal as Trippier hits it long and diagonal. Kiwior heads it away. Polish international made his first start in the Premier League against Chelsea. Only his 5th appearance since he's arrived. Here is Isak. Back with Botman. Left to the centre circle. Guimaraes able to collect it in the centre circle over the halfway line and able to turn. Now it's with Trippier, edging our way towards half-time. Botman to Burn. Isak. Lovely first touch again as he turns to confront Ben White. They've doubled up on Isak. That won't faze him if he saw his skill at Goodison Park the other week.
His body movement is unbelievable. The way he shifts his hips and... Oh, wow.
He was linked very, very strongly with Arsenal in 2022. It was Newcastle United, though, have found a real gem as Saka carries the ball away and finds Martinelli. Saka's gone down off the ball, which is always a concern. Too sure if there was a collision with a Newcastle player. I was watching Martinelli.
I think it was Guimaraes that he tangled with, and now it's like his shin pad that's come out of his sock. That's actually his boot.
He's holding his left ankle. Oh yeah, Guimaraes just caught him.
Yeah, there's nothing in it though. They both got their eyes on the ball, and he just treads on the back of his boot and takes it off. It's very sore for Saka, but no intention from Bruno Guimaraes.
Just an accidental coming together, but he's grimacing his Saka out there at the minute. Just to recap, by the way, if you've missed it, in the Scottish Premiership, Celtic are the champions after a 2-0 win at Hearts, and on the final day of League One. Congratulations to Stephen Schumacher's Plymouth Argyle, champions of League One, after a 3-1 victory at Port Vale. And in the playoffs, of course, Ipswich were already promoted as well, along with Plymouth last weekend. Sheffield Wednesday will play Peterborough, Barnsley will play Bolton, and in the sides to be relegated, it was Cambridge United who survived after beating Forest Green 2-0. So relegated to League Two are MK Dons, Morecambe, Accrington and Forest Green. And indeed, Mark Bonner, here's a good quiz question for you. Since Eddie Howe took charge, only 3 managers have won at St James's Park. Guardiola, Klopp twice, and Mark Bonner of Cambridge United.
Cambridge in the cup.
Yeah.
Well, it was a quiz question that you'd answered before you gave the question out.
There's a reason you'll never see me on Mastermind. In fact, I can think of 2 reasons why you'll never see me on Mastermind, whether I'm hosting it or a contestant. But there we go. We're inside the last 30 seconds of the stoppage time in the first half. It is an indication, though, of how much this is a fortress, or has become a fortress, should I say, under Eddie Howe.
The noise when you come out is just deafening, isn't it? When the teams come out to start the game, and then when they create opportunities, you hear that lift, and even when they win tackles, phenomenal.
5 minutes of added on time, which we're now into. Murphy into the penalty area, tried to cut it back. It was behind Wilson. Arsenal have got the ball away through Zinchenko, helped further clear by Ødegaard, the Arsenal goal scorer, who still lead 1-0 here on BBC Radio 5 Live, the World Service and BBC Sounds.
I'm just thinking then, when Murphy gets on the ball, why not just strike it across goal and hope that Callum Wilson's arriving, or Isak's coming in at the back post and maybe an Arsenal player fires it into his own goal. Trying to be too precise at times.
Guimaraes heads it forward. Willock brings the ball under control, runs forward midway through the Arsenal half. Isak is the option on this near side, challenged by Saka, didn't keep the ball in play. It's quite clear, though, that every time Saka doing the defensive duties, they're quick to double up on him.
Yeah, but I think Joe Willock has to give him the ball earlier. He's running on top of him, then passing the ball on, which allows whoever's marking Joe Willock then to run onto Isak, which is too close. Feed him the ball early and then run away from the space to leave him in a 1v1 situation. 78
appearances and 11 goals for Joe Willock in his 4 years at Arsenal, before he left for £25 million after that very impressive loan spell, where he scored 8 goals for Newcastle in 14 appearances.
He had to leave as well. It was the right time for him to leave, and it was the right club for him to come to, the right manager as well. He's vastly improved under Eddie Howe.
Saka gives chase. Guimaraes shields the ball away from him, uses his strength, passes the ball back to Pope. Pope doesn't go long, passes the ball out wide right. Trippier collects it, the Newcastle right back to run forward. He's already over the halfway line now. That's excellent.
Right.
Jesus tracking him and then getting a sliding block challenge in. Arsenal working very, very hard off the ball. Stoppage time then here on 5 Live. And Cher to Botman. Guimaraes comes to collect it. Side down, quite high actually, by Jesus. There's no attempt to play the ball from Jesus, was there?
No, none at all. I'm surprised that Chris Kavanagh didn't give a yellow card there, because it was cynical. He was away from the press and he'd have been able to pick a pass then. Jason Tindall now is, a couple of times they wanted to spot the ball quickly, Newcastle. He's saying no, set up the set piece. We believe we've got the quality to hurt them.
It's the voice of the former England international Stephen Warnock, who's with us here at St James's Park. Trippier lifts it high, and the header from Botman glanced off the top of his head, didn't necessarily have the power, and it was saved quite comfortably by Ramsdale.
Yeah, he just tries to flick his head at it, doesn't get enough purchase on it to push it across goal to the onrushing Callum Wilson, who'd have had a tap in, and there we go again.
It's Xhaka who's gone down again. He rocks back onto his bum. He's been told to get onto his feet, and he's reacted a little bit angrily there to Callum Wilson, who's been shoved away.
If I was a Newcastle player now, I'd make more of this and get the crowd going, really get them fired up, because it needs something just to lift the crowd a little bit.
Well, Xhaka has stayed down after that magic 2 minute earlier on, where he sat down and then was helped to his feet. On this occasion he's going to take a breather, and he waits for the physio to treat him. And in fact Dan Burn now comes across to even vent his frustration at the fourth official.
Well, Dan Burns just said to Anthony Taylor, he's been down 4 times now. At what point, why does he now want the physio on? Should have dealt with it first time.
So Xhaka is getting treatment from the physio, and in stoppage time there's going to be a further delay. I was just keeping my eye on Saka down below, bearing in mind he got caught by Guimaraes a short time ago. He'd wandered across and one of the backroom staff was just having a word to him. That was a lengthy stoppage for Xhaka. Will now have to leave the field of play. It'll be a free kick up to Arsenal when play does resume. The Champions League, of course, well, tomorrow actually, Bank Holiday Monday, we're going around the grounds in the Championship, and we've got a commentary at 3, Fulham against Leicester City, and then Brighton Everton at 5:30. Both of those games are live on 5 Live. 2 huge games affecting the relegation situation. The Monday Night Club at 7, and then Champions League, Madrid and Milan Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh, here we go again. Kieran Trippier's just thrown the ball in, passed it to, I think it was Murphy, and Murphy's just put it out for a throw-in. Gabriel left his centre-back position, ran over to Kieran Trippier, and is furious with him for saying, why don't you kick it back to the goalkeeper?
And so tempers are flaring a little bit, and the referee's just having to let things settle down. Do think there was enough in it from the meeting in that goalless draw in North London at the turn of the year that has just been carried over into this game. You can feel it, can't you?
Yeah, you absolutely can. There's a little bit of needle. Now we've got Gabriel Jesus and Kieran Trippier nose to nose just before the halfway line.
There was then a push by Cher on Jesus, who's then hauled to the floor by Trippier, and then he sarcastically applauds for the referee. But when you put your left arm on the shoulder of Jesus, you're inviting trouble. And once again, things are being said, and Gabriel this time has got to get in between, I think, Callum Wilson and Xhaka. All very unseemly. Free kick eventually, when play eventually decides to break out, will be taken by Zinchenko on that far side.
Brilliant.
Ball shipped on the inside. Martinelli back towards Ødegaard. He's taken it very, very well. Good save by Pope with the legs. Ødegaard didn't hit it first time. One more touch, created the space. Pope kept Newcastle in the game. And there at the end of the first half, it's finished. Newcastle United 0, Arsenal 1. But Pope has made, I think, at least 4 key saves since Ødegaard put Arsenal ahead after 14 minutes. Ramsdale's save from Willock. They had a penalty overruled through VAR at Newcastle after hitting the post early doors. And it's been a very captivating watch.
It's been brilliant. Just watching the body language of Ødegaard there, head in his hands as he walks off, big puff of the cheeks. Nick Pope runs past him with a magnificent save, but tempers are flaring down the tunnel as well as they head in. Words exchanged between both sets of players. This has been brilliant.
Ramsdale was having a word with Jason Tindall. Dan Burn got involved as well, and as they make their way down the tunnel, we will get our breath back, and in 15 minutes we'll do it all again. But Arsenal, looking to move within a point of Manchester City, are ahead at half-time here at St James's Park. Newcastle United 0, Arsenal 1.
Great football and just the right amount of edge, and how appropriate, Stephen, that half finished with Ødegaard and Pope coming together, the 2 outstanding players on the pitch so far. Yeah,
they have been, and like Deno mentioned it in commentary, what do you do with Ødegaard? Do you man mark him? Do you leave him? Do you trust that your system can sort of negate him and not have to worry about him? But he's just such an exceptional player. When he gets on the ball, he creates so many problems. I thought he should have hit it first time. That's why he's a better player than I am. He just takes that lovely touch to sit the defender down, and then Pope does. All credit to him. He doesn't stand still. He actually walks out or runs out and closes the angle down, makes the goal smaller, and it's such an important save at such a key time in the game.
Great stat, which has been dug out by one of our production team, who is an Arsenal fan, as it happens. With that goal, Ødegaard has now equalled the highest number of goals in a Premier League season by a midfielder, if you take penalties out of the equation. So more than Fabregas's best in 2010, more than Gerrard's best in 2009, more than Lampard's best, more than Yaya Touré's best, and equalling Kevin De Bruyne from last season. That is how good he is, Stephen.
Oh, there's no doubt in the quality that he possesses. It's there for everyone to see, but he doesn't shy away. He wants the ball. The start that Newcastle made was exceptional, but then he starts to get on the ball and change the way that Arsenal play. He dictates how they play the game, and He's the captain for a reason, because he takes the ball under pressure and accepts the responsibility that he has to be the one to kickstart them into gear. But the return of the goals and assists this year has been sensational.
When he catches it like he caught that first one, it's just like a crisp golf swing, Stephen. Take note.
I don't know. Apparently.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Stephen Warnock, Ian Dennis inside a buzzing St James's Park. Newcastle versus Arsenal. What a fantastic first half of football that was. Newcastle 0, Arsenal 1. How there's only been one goal in that 45 minutes, I've got absolutely no idea. We'll have more wrapping up the League One final day of the season shortly. We'll speak to Chris Sutton ahead of 606 08 085 909 693. The lines will be open very shortly. We'll be back at the Miami Grand Prix as well. Full commentary on the way from there at 8 p.m. tonight. We'll do all of that after the latest news with Carl Hartley.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you, Steve. The government has defended the Metropolitan Police following criticism of the force's response to anti-monarchy protesters. 52 people were arrested ahead of a planned demonstration yesterday. The head of the Republic Group, Graham Smith, called the action an attack on democracy. Here's the Culture Secretary, Lucy Fraser.
This right to protest is really important. We live in a democracy. But what we've seen over the last few years is a change in tactics of protesters. We've seen them stopping people going about their day-to-day business. And I think what we've needed to do is redress that balance.
The Prince and Princess of Wales have been meeting members of the public in Windsor as events to mark the King's coronation continue. King Charles says he was deeply touched by the support he received during yesterday's service in London, and he thanked those who organised what he called a glorious occasion. Later, there'll be a concert at Windsor Castle. In other news, police in County Tyrone say a motorist has been held at gunpoint by 3 masked men and forced to drive a suspicious object to a police station. It happened last night, and a number of homes in Omagh were evacuated while searches were carried out. Police are calling it a senseless act and say the driver has been badly shaken. President Biden has ordered flags at the White House to be flown at half-mast after a mass shooting at a shopping centre in Texas killed 8 people. Eyewitnesses described a man dressed in black opening fire apparently indiscriminately at shoppers in Allen, a suburb of the city of Dallas. The gunman was later shot dead by police. And a 56-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of stabbing and sexually assaulting a 71-year-old woman in Worcester. West Mercia police say the attack happened on a riverside walkway in the early hours of this morning. The woman is in hospital in a critical condition.
Are you ready to show the world how we host? It's time for Eurovision in Liverpool. Come on, Ryland and Scott, get yourself looking Eurovision fabulous.
Shoulder pads or Cuban heels? Both, obviously.
Bring on the buffet.
Perfect. I've got all the nibbles.
Oh, Tar Nigella. Hey, Usla, make some noise. Let them hear us in Kiev.
The Eurovision Song Contest first semi-final.
United by music.
Tuesday night on iPlayer and BBC Sounds.
More live Premier League football than anyone else.
5 Lives Premier League Sunday
with Steve Crossman.
Newcastle United 0, Arsenal 1 at half-time at St James's Park. We'll be back for second half commentary shortly. We'll also wrap up the final day in League One. Celtic have won the Scottish Premiership title today after a 2-0 win at 10-man Hearts. For manager Ange Postecoglou, it's a second league title in 2 seasons at the club.
Just really proud, just this group of players and staff. They've just, maintained an absolutely ridiculous standard this year. Just relentless in their approach. Having success last year, you're always worried as a kind of manager, are they going to be as hungry? But, from the first day, they've just never let up, and it's a credit to every single one of them that, like I said, they've got their rewards now.
On a personal level, and how do you feel about the achievements that you have had at Celtic in the past 2 seasons?
Yeah, just immensely proud. Like I said, I've had a great deal of support, particularly within the football club, and I've got an outstanding sort of football team behind me that just, have kind of trusted me with the way I wanted to take the football club, and, I feel really blessed for that, and, obviously my family, my wife, my kids, and my friends, and my inner circle. Because they make a lot of sacrifices. So I just feel, like I said, immensely proud that I could give back a little bit to all those people.
That's Ange Postecoglou with BBC Radio Scotland's Brian McLaughlin. Rangers, by the way, beat Aberdeen by 1-0, but that didn't matter today. Celtic were always going to win the title. It was just a question of when. 6:06 tonight, once we're done at St James's Park, 08085 909 693. You can get your call in now. Chris Sutton's with us. Afternoon, Chris.
Good afternoon, Steve. You okay?
Yeah, very good. You're with Natalie Pike tonight, which makes me wonder if Robbie just couldn't handle you on the day that Celtic win a title.
Well, I see Macclesfield have gone through another manager, haven't they? Another manager left Macclesfield. Yeah, but I mean, with regards to Celtic, it was pretty inevitable. I mean, what a job Ange Postecoglou has done there, Steve. I can't, tell you how difficult a situation he had to take over. And is improving the team all the time. His signings have been tremendous, virtually every signing, which it's a gambler's market the Celtic are in, and he utilised the J League market extremely well, and they are the dominant force in Scotland. Let's hope Rangers do the right thing next week and give Celtic a guard of honour onto the pitch at Ibrox.
I'm just going to admit, I'm not even going to let that stand.
Why?
Oh, come
on!
That's
the right thing to do, Steve.
Has it ever happened?
But
has it ever happened?
I don't know. I mean, you're supposed to know these things.
Come on, of course it has. You wouldn't have
been
doing that.
Do the right thing at times, Steve. Come on.
Hey, listen, I've got a question for you. So I was reading this piece in the Scotsman this morning, which we talked about on the show a little bit earlier, and it was suggesting that this Celtic team should be considered better than the Brendan Rodgers treble team, which I know he didn't quite round off, but he more or less did. What do you think of that?
I don't like all these comparisons. I think they're sort of pretty pointless debates. Brendan Rodgers' team was a really good team. I love watching this Celtic team under Postecoglou. I really do. I think as of late, Ange would admit that the team looked a little bit leggy in the last couple of weeks. But the brand of football which they've played, I mean, so dominant in the big games against Rangers. They've turned up, and people forget when Michael Beale came in to Rangers. He was talking their team up, and suggesting they're on level terms, and he's really hit the reverse.
You've done it again, Chris. Now. It's two questions about Celtic, and you start talking about Rangers.
Yeah, but it's a rivalry. It's a rivalry, and you mentioned the 2 titles. Well, there are Celtic fans who will tell you 3 titles because there's the Michael Beale League as well, the league which when he came in he was trying to distance himself from Gio Van Bronckhorst, so they've won that league as well, Steve. So want to hear from Celtic fans and Rangers fans.
I was going to say, Rangers fans might have something to say to that. What about elsewhere? There have been loads of great stories today. Plymouth Argyle back in the second tier.
Who's that? Sorry,
Plymouth Argyle.
And I don't know Ipswich's result today's, but Plymouth winning, that's a massive deal for the Pilgrims. Well done.
Ipswich drew.
Did they?
Yeah, Ipswich drew, and I may have played a bit of a cruel trick on Ali later by pretending that Plymouth had conceded a goal that they hadn't. But that's fine.
You didn't.
But that's fine. They're the league title winners, so congratulations to them.
You're so much better than that, Steve. Doing that to my mate.
Am I better than? I'm not sure I am.
No, neither am I.
No, never mind. Chris, thank you very much. Have a good show.
Cheers,
Chris Sutton with Natalie Pike, 4606. You can get your calls in right now. 08085 909 693. Plymouth fans, for sure, you've got to want to get in touch after a 3-1 win over Port Vale, which secured the title. Peterborough United, what about you? Snatching the final playoff place with a 2-0 victory at Barnsley. Derby missing out after a 1-0 defeat at Sheffield Wednesday. I would say a controversial red card for Curtis Davis had a massive impact on that. Cambridge United fans, you avoided the drop today with a 2-0 win at Forest Green Rovers. Sam Smith scored and I don't like hyperbole, Van Basten-esque volley. It really was. So Morecambe and MK Dons both relegated to League 2, joining Accrington Stanley and Forest Green Rovers as the 4 to drop down. Morecambe lost 3-2 at Exeter. MK Dons drew 0-0 with Burton. Other results: Bristol Rovers 2, Bolton 3, Cheltenham 2, Charlton 2, Fleetwood 2, Ipswich 2, Lincoln 1, Shrewsbury 0, Oxford 1, Accrington Stanley 2, Accrington relegated regardless, and Portsmouth 2, Wickham 2, including a goal from Lewis Wing from fully 40 yards. So that's League One. Elsewhere, Burnley manager Vincent Kompany signed a new 5-year contract, so we'll keep him at the club until 2028. A last-minute extra-time goal by substitute Jody Jones has sent Notts County into the National League promotion final. They won 3-2 against Boreham Wood. They were 2-0 down. They needed a 97th minute equaliser just to get it to extra time. By the looks of things, in that playoff final, they might well be playing Chesterfield because they're 2-1 up against Bromley in the other semi-final with 4 minutes to go, and Bromley have got 10 men. In the WSL today, Manchester United beat Spurs 3-0 to go 6 points clear at the top. Crucially, Manchester City then could not cut the deficit. They lost 2-1 to Liverpool. Brighton beat West Ham by a 1-0. Aston Villa put 5 past Reading. Chelsea versus Everton kicks off at 6:45. Commentary of that one available on Sports Extra. It's the final day of the latest round of county championship matches. Kevin Howells.
Some headlines. Warwickshire currently top of Division 1 after a big win over Hampshire today, a victory by an innings and 84 runs. Johnny Bairstow's return from a long layoff, unsuccessful with the bat. Second innings for Yorkshire here in Leeds, a 9-ball duck. Adam Lythe went on to score 174, 16 overs left to the game for Glamorgan to take 4 more wickets for the win. Outstanding from England bowler Ollie Robinson, 14 wickets for Sussex against Worcestershire. Game heading towards a draw and still ongoing. Defending champion Surrey fighting to avoid a first defeat of the season. 111 for 6, set a target of 273 to beat Essex.
Sergio Perez is on pole for the Miami Grand Prix. His teammate, the championship leader Max Verstappen, is back in 9th. Let's get a flavour of Florida. Christian Hugill.
Oh, the atmosphere really is building. I know that's a cliche, but trust me, it is. The paddock is filling up. The clouds are coming over the Miami Dolphins Hard Rock Stadium, which could play a factor for this race. And it's a golden opportunity for Sergio Perez to claw back Max Verstappen's 6-point lead. All the talk is whether he can maintain a title challenge. Well, he couldn't wish for a better way to do it here with his teammate in 9th. Sergio on pole. This could be a Miami classic.
Looking forward to it. Full commentary at 8 p.m. Speaking of golden opportunities, by the end of the night, West Ham could be safe in the Premier League, or Manchester United could have really cemented that top 4 place. But what's it going to be, Jonathan Overend?
Yes, I'm sure Manchester United will be keeping an eye on Newcastle. They'll be well aware of Liverpool's late season surge as well. They need to recover quickly from that late disappointment of their defeat at Brighton on Thursday. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff here. Glorious sunshine around the Olympic Park. Families just enjoying the afternoon, and certainly the Hammers fans looking forward to this. As you say, it could be the 3 points maybe which secures their survival, but on 34 points at the moment, they're certainly not safe yet, and another defeat and the jitters will continue, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Jonathan, thank you very much. Jonathan will keep us right up to date during 606 08085 909 693. The lines are open. Book your call right now to speak to Natalie Pike and Chris Sutton. They follow the second half at St James's Park, where anything could happen. Ian Dennis.
Yes, it most certainly could. What happened in the first half, we had a penalty that was awarded after Newcastle had hit the post early on, and that was overruled through VAR. Had a hatful of chances, particularly at the Newcastle end, where Pope making 4 saves from Martinelli, Ødegaard, Saka, and then Ødegaard again after the Norwegian had given Arsenal a 14th minute lead. We had a good game of football with a real edge to it, and as neither side has made a change, we're back underway in the second half, and you're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live and also the World Service, also available on BBC Sounds. I'll run through the 2 teams for you. Newcastle, black and white striped shirts, black shorts, playing from left to right as we look, attacking the Gallagher end, for those of you who know St James's Park, and they have Pope in goal, Trippier, Cher, Botman and Byrne, Willett, Guimaraes and Joel Linton, Murphy, Wilson and Isak. For Newcastle, Arsenal in their red and white shirts and white shorts. As just watch Wilson trying to roll his man Kivior, and helped out by Xhaka, they get the ball away. Ramsdale is in goal. They made 1 change, that was Martinelli for Trossard. So White, Gabriel, Kivior and Zinchenko is the defence, Jorginho and Xhaka, Saka, Ødegaard, Martinelli and Jesus. Let's get the early thoughts of the second half from Stephen Warnock.
Well, Arsenal started the second half in control of the ball again. How they started the latter stages of the first half. You just see Xhaka pulling off the back of the midfielders in the second half, wanting to create more space for an out ball to get on the ball. It'll be interesting to see how this second half plays out.
Ødegaard out to Saka. Saka looked for the return to Ødegaard. He was a little flat-footed. Buildup was there with the interception. Isak on that far side in front of the east stand will win a throw for Newcastle United. Ødegaard always seems to have so much space, doesn't he?
And time. The best players in the world make time stand still on a football pitch, and they seem to slow things down. It's such an art, and I just wish players could pass that on to other players, because it's such a skill to have on a football pitch.
Ball runs loose in the midfield, picked up by Xhaka to Jesus, drifting out towards the right. He finds Saka. Xhaka's continued his run, lifts it high in the air off his left leg, headed away by Guimarães. There's an acrobatic fall to the floor from Jorginho as Ødegaard turns, slips the ball to White. White far side, the right, runs into the penalty area. Pope slides in and gathers it safely for Newcastle United. 1-0 then to Arsenal. It would mean that Newcastle United potentially could be overtaken by Manchester United if they were to win at West Ham in that 7 o'clock kickoff, where Jonathan Overend will keep us up to date on 5 Live as Trippier chips the ball long, looking for the run of Murphy. Murphy with his pace will get there, but Zinchenko is back goal side. Murphy though gliding across the surface, enters the penalty area. Zinchenko slips, crosses, Isak there, somehow Arsenal get the ball away.
Wow, what a passage of play from the ball down the line from Trippier into Murphy, skinning Zinchenko and standing it up. I'm sure it was Isak, and then Ramsdale with a fine save down to his bottom left. Well, that's a response from Newcastle. That's how you come out in the second half and start the game. But brilliant play down the right hand side by Murphy, and I just thought, what's he going to do as he gets to the touchline? And he just dinks this lob wedge up, and Isak, he actually cannons off the post. It's not a save by Ramsdale, it's cannoned off the bottom of the post.
Isak very, very close with the run into the penalty area. Newcastle United have been awarded a free kick just a few yards away from the right corner of the area. 4 minutes into the second half. It's the second time this afternoon that Newcastle have been denied by the post. Trippier to take it, right-footed, goes towards the far post. What a save by Ramsdale to keep out Cher. Cher climbs so high, downward header, and Ramsdale with such a strong arm from almost point-blank range. What a save from Ramsdale.
Wow, breathtaking save from Aaron Ramsdale. Cher totally unmarked, arcs his neck, powers the header. Ramsdale down to the right-hand side. A strong forearm, not a hand, a forearm to keep it out, and he pushes it back over the head of Cher to safety to Zinchenko, who then clears the ball. Game saving save from Aaron Ramsdale, because that is outstanding.
Well, Newcastle twice coming close to an equaliser inside the opening 4 minutes of the second half here on 5 Live. Trippier, left-footed ball downfield. Arsenal still 1-0 up. White heads it away, and then Xhaka heads the ball all the way back to Ramsdale. That win against Chelsea in midweek was their first in 5 after dropping points against Liverpool and West Ham, and then fighting back against Southampton in those 3 draws. Of course, they lost 4-1 at Manchester City, so not only did they lose 9 points in the month of April, but also real momentum. But looking to build on that win against Chelsea and to take their tally to 39 points on their travels in the Premier League. It's a slender lead here on this bright evening. Ooh, ball back to Ramsdale. A little slip. Not the first player actually to have lost his footing in the conditions. Here is Xhaka inside to Zinchenko, running forward over the halfway line. Zinchenko now to Jesus. Saka and Martinelli are options ahead of him. He finds Martinelli left of the penalty area. Back with Jesus. Forward ball. Martinelli able to turn and marked inside the box. Martinelli gets the shot away. Dipping hits the crossbar. It was a dipping right-footed effort. Pope was stranded off the crossbar and loops behind for a goal kick.
Well, he's been quiet, Martinelli, but this one moment where he drifts into the box, he's got Cher in front of him, and he throws his right hip towards the left-hand side. Cher goes for it, and it just opens up the far side of the goal. right-footed, bends it, top corner, it's dipping, and it crashes off the crossbar. Nick Pope didn't even dive, he just watches it agonisingly, hoping that it either goes over or he's saved by the woodwork.
It's 1-0 to Arsenal. It could have been 2-2, it could have been 3-3.
It's just, don't take your eyes off it, something's going to happen.
Here is Isak tussling for the ball on that far side. Is Wilson, tried to feed it towards Willock. No foul, says the referee, but now he'll irate the Newcastle fans by giving a free kick in favour of the away side. I was actually here at St James's Park in 2011 when these two sides played an epic 4-4 draw. We could have been close to getting that now. At the minute, you think that Newcastle have hit the post twice. They could have had a penalty that VAR ruled out. Arsenal have forced a number of saves. They've hit the crossbar.
I'm just glad we've got 35 more minutes left to watch it.
Yeah. That was the occasion when Alan Pardew was the manager, and midway through the second half, Newcastle United were still 4-0 down.
Is that Tiote?
Tiote.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a strike that was.
Yeah. A couple of goals from Joey Barton that particular afternoon. Newcastle United looking to actually get back into Europe since Alan Pardew took them to the quarterfinals of the Europa League. That was in 2012, 2013. But it's the Champions League that a lot of the Newcastle fans are looking for. So Bobby Robson, the last Newcastle manager to do that 20 years ago. What an achievement that would be for Eddie Howe if they were able to do it. But they are behind. Murphy, Guimaraes tries to spin away from Martinelli. Ball runs out towards Isak, picks it up left-hand side for Newcastle, drives forward. Jesus, a lot of work rate off the ball from the Arsenal players, the likes of your Martinelli and your Jesus, and now Saka can run forward and he'll carry it over the halfway line, and Burns struggling to get back to him, does get back goal side, but Saka has come infield and it now reaches Martinelli. Xhaka is up with him, Zinchenko's joining the attack. Here is Zinchenko, now to Jorginho midway through the Newcastle half, out towards the right to find Jesus. Cries of Arsenal, Arsenal from the strong travelling support. Jorginho goes short and square, White, forward ball, Saka makes the run. Saka slides into the challenge, tries to hold off the efforts of Botman, but Botman brings it away. Saka only now is getting to his feet, and it will be a Newcastle throw deep inside their own half.
He wants a foul, Saka, and he felt that Botman was just too tight to him, but he slipped initially into a challenge and then Botman just stepped over him to win the ball back. And you just wonder, when will Eddie Howe make changes? At what point does he feel that he needs to inject more pace into this game with the substitutes that he has got at his disposal? Saint-Maximin, Almiron, definitely players who can come on and have an effect in this game.
Well, Gordon started the game against Southampton but was disappointing. He was taken off at half-time. Saint-Maximin, who's missed the last 5 with a thigh injury, is available on the bench, as Stephen Warnock quite rightly says. And then you've got Almiron too, who's been a little bit out of form when you consider that he started the season in such terrific form, and with finding goals on a regular basis. But those goals have dried up in the second half of the season. 10 minutes though into the second half here on 5 Live at St James's Park, and Arsenal attacking the Leazes end have been awarded a free kick, and it's midway through the Newcastle half. It's about 10 yards in from the far touchline, the right, as they play from right to left, that Ødegaard is going to take, and once again they're tightly grouped. Ødegaard left-footed, headed away by Botman, cleared on the half volley by Trippier, and Jorginho heads it up. It's a bouncing ball that Zinchenko has a challenge from Guimaraes, and then he's helped out by Xhaka, and he'll find Martinelli, who nods it on. He's in behind Trippier. Trippier now looks to get back goal side. Martinelli towards Jesus. Jesus looking for the shooting opportunity and will win a corner. As he was charged down, it looped up in the air and behind for a corner to Arsenal. Yeah,
really good counter-attacking from Arsenal and get themselves advanced beyond the press. It looks like Arsenal are going to make a change here. It will be Mikel Arteta who's going to roll the dice first.
So Arteta is going to make a change. There is activity down below. Meanwhile, they've got a corner kick. They lead by a 0-0. Talked before about the influence of Saliba. 12 clean sheets in 27 with him, yet to keep a clean sheet without him. If they keep a clean sheet though here today, then they get the 3 points as they lead 1-0. In comes the corner kick. It's an in-swinger. Pope struggling. Backpedaling to his far post. Like he's doing the backstroke as he managed to claw it away. Might have got a touch on it. Jorginho to Xhaka, just outside the centre circle. Now it's with Saka. Tickles it on the inside towards Ødegaard. Ødegaard looked like he was going to shoot there from 30 yards out. Instead he passes it to Jesus. Jesus chips the ball deep towards the far post. The boozer for Jesus is because he'd gone down, and then he was back to his feet as the ball was coming back towards him, and it's a goal kick anyway to Newcastle as they trail 1-0. Tierney's the player coming on.
Yeah, I just wonder whether it'll be Zinchenko coming off. Has he felt something, or only real change that you can see Mikel Arteta making?
Kieran Tierney, a player who has been linked before he joined Arsenal. He's also been linked subsequently with a move to Newcastle. Whilst he's been an Arsenal player, he's getting his final instructions as the ball goes to Pope and plays it flat along the ground to Joelinton, just to get away from Xhaka. Succeeds, finds Burn, strides over the halfway line, releases Willock. Isak now takes over. Isak back towards Willock. What a challenge that was. That was Xhaka, who'd made such a run back into the penalty area with a goal-saving sliding challenge. Wonderful play by Xhaka off the ball.
Incredible challenge from Xhaka. Had to make it, had to time it right, or otherwise he gives a penalty away. What a run from Isak. Lays it on a plate for Willock, but Xhaka, who after the challenge has gone down for probably the fourth time already in this game. But that is worth its weight in gold.
I'll actually forgive him for going down, because that was a lung-busting run back into the penalty area and such a well-timed challenge. So if he's only taking a breather, then from an Arsenal point of view, they will give him that as he's now back on his feet. But look, he looks absolutely exhausted.
I think he's happy to play pantomime villain today, isn't he, Granit Xhaka?
Whoever was coming off, Arteta's just given the thumbs up to the and I don't think Tierney's going to come on just yet. They're just going to wait, I think.
Can't see the number on the board, but my eyesight's terrible.
Here is Cher. I'm saying nothing. Tierney waits. Arsenal lead by a 0-0. Gabriel steps out of defence. Xhaka picks it up. Jesus plays it out to Martinelli. He's got space to run into as Trippier was just tucked in field there. Martinelli gets away from Joelinton, still snapping away at his heels. Martinelli back towards Zinchenko, still trying to micromanage as he does on the touchline. Arteta cleared away by Cher, bounces off the chest of Jorginho. Great noise inside St James's Park this afternoon here. The Newcastle supporters trying to play their part. They know that Champions League football for next season is so close. And Jorginho has stayed down. Now they're going to make the change, and it is going to be Zinchenko who's coming off. So it is like for like. Tierney for Zinchenko at left back.
Well, I don't think there's a problem, Deno, because Zinchenko's not happy. He's just put his arms out as if to say why. But this is a change that he often makes, whether he feels Zinchenko can't last a full 90 minutes. He's not a happy boy.
Well, he has. He didn't look at Arteta, but he still shook the hand of the Arsenal manager. But we've been playing for an hour, and Arsenal still lead by a 0-0. Now, by my calculations are probably as good as your golf.
Laugh at your own jokes.
I know, sorry.
That's terrible.
But if Arsenal win, they have to win their remaining fixtures and hope that somewhere City drop 5 points in the closing stages of the title race.
Very, very big ask, isn't it?
And you think that City have got to go to Everton away, Chelsea at home, Brighton away and Brentford away. But they're on a run of 10 successive wins in the Premier League.
This isn't over though, Dano. There's plenty more in this game.
Cleared by Byrne. Joel Linton comes under pressure from 3 red and white shirts of Arsenal as they swarm around him. Trippier. 7 appearances against Arsenal during his Spurs days in North London derbies. Only lost on 2 of those 7. As the evening sunshine here at St James's Park once again. Willock over the halfway line on the left-hand side. 62 minutes played. Isak always looking to turn. Out to Joel Linton. Right corner of the area. Joel Linton onto his left foot. Pulls it back. Guimaraes tries to place it. There was no power on the edge of the area, and it was a weak, tame effort straight at Ramsdale.
Yeah, really poor from Guimaraes after lovely work from Isak originally to feed it out to Joel Linton down the right-hand side. Little step overs, creates the space for him to get the shot in, but he's just off balance. He can't get his balance. And do you know what, Deno? That's the same part of the pitch that there's been 4 or 5 slips in.
Here is Guimaraes, fouled by Ødegaard, quickly taken free kick whilst he was on one knee. Guimaraes back to Joel Linton. Willock now to Isak, always looks lively, always looks a threat with real menace. Enters the penalty area on that left-hand side, slows down, waits, now delivers the cross, too deep. Trippier will try and retrieve it. He'll get there before Martinelli, keeps the ball in play. Martinelli then gets a foot into the challenge. It's a Newcastle throw, down by the corner flag.
You hear the crowd every time Isak gets the ball, it lifts.
Yeah.
Just keep feeding him, keep getting that crowd's momentum. Make it difficult for Ben White. If you're an Arsenal player, stop it going out there.
Trippier with the throw on the right-hand side. Joel Linton. Gabriel Jesus back there helping out in the defensive cause. Joel Linton tries to whip up the crowd. It goes behind for a Newcastle United corner kick here at St James's Park as they still look for an equaliser to cancel out that Ødegaard goal.
Well, the quality's not being great from Kieran Trippier. We don't often say that. It's time for him to find some quality.
Trippier with the corner. It's an outswinger headed up by Botman. Off the chest by Jorginho. Willock runs into his own player, Botman, and it enables Jorginho to get the ball away, but there's nobody there, and we're going to see Almiron coming on. So Stephen Warnock wondered when Eddie Howe would make that first change. The change is going to come around 64-minute mark as Willock goes to ground, and that was for a foul by Saka. Again, no yellow card being shown by referee Chris Kavanagh.
Yeah, and Chris Kavanagh making it clear it's not for not winning the ball. He's saying it's for the pull on the shirt of Joe Willock. He didn't win the ball either, so there was 2 things wrong with it.
It's Murphy who's coming off. He's been involved in every game for Newcastle this season bar the Crystal Palace League Cup tie. And Jacob Murphy, who struck the post after 76 seconds, makes way for Almiron, who scored 9 goals in his first 18 games of this season, but only 2 in the following 18. However, 11 goals is still nevertheless his best goal-scoring season of his career. So it's a free kick to Newcastle United, who still trail by a goal to 0. It's on that far side, the left. It's going to be an in-swinger, because Trippier's going to take it on that left-hand side in front of the Gallowgate end. Arsenal have everybody back inside the penalty area. They have a 2-man wall. Trippier kills it in. It was dropping. An awkward one, actually, for Ramsdale. And then eventually, after a really long time, Chris Kavanagh had a look at it and has eventually shown that it's going to be a goal kick to Arsenal.
Well, I can't believe Chris Kavanagh took so long to make that decision. Everything about Aaron Ramsdale's reaction told you that he touched the ball, and now you've got Granit Xhaka having a go at Joe Linton, saying that Joe Linton elbowed Granit Xhaka as it came in. And he has touched it, Ramsdale. It should be a corner.
Looked a little awkward. Xhaka is still pursuing Joel Linton with an accusing finger. Their next coming together is going to be one to watch.
I know we are backing that one.
Well, at the minute it was drops. Jesus has gone to ground after a forceful challenge by Cher. The accusation is that he's left one on the side of the cheek there of Jesus. Arteta wasn't impressed. Who would want to be a referee?
Well, Arteta threw an elbow up straight away as if to say he's left the elbow in. It's just a forceful tackle, and then the arm does come through, but it's just the momentum of his body moving into the challenge. But Jesus lays flattened on the floor, and Arsenal won't be in a rush. They'll take the time, they'll slow the game down, they'll play on it.
Arteta once again, as Jesus is going to get treatment, is just having a word with Ødegaard and Jorginho, his midfield marshals, if you like, because Arsenal are edging ever closer to what really would be an excellent 3 points on their travels, given how much of a fortress this place is.
Yeah, absolutely. They'd have looked at this game, and many others would, Manchester City fans included, would have been saying, we'll keep our eye on that one, because they'll have to do something special to get a victory away at Newcastle.
Tierney goes long with the throw, kept in play ever so well by Saka, helped out by Martinelli down by the corner flag near side the left. Trippier almost shoving him out of over the touchline, out for a throw, and then Trippier tosses the ball away, and then it's kicked further clear by Jesus. That suits Arsenal. Saint-Maximin has decided to warm up alongside Gordon. We're midway through the second half. BBC Radio 5 Live in the World Service, also available on the BBC Sounds app, where Arsenal still lead 1-0. Jesus from the throw. Goal kick to Newcastle United. Last touch off Jesus, who complains. Arteta waving his arms around in that technical area. Played it out short from the back of Newcastle. Share. Tomorrow, vital games down at the bottom of the table, live on 5 Live. Fulham Leicester at 3. We go around the grounds in the Championship also. Brighton Everton at 5:30. As the ball is sent forward towards Wilson. Ushered back though by Gabriel. Cleared by Ramsdale. Tuesday night we're live inside the Bernabeu. Real Madrid against Manchester City. First leg of the Champions League semi-finals. We're in San Siro on Wednesday for Milan against Inter. And then on Thursday, West Ham against AZ Alkmaar is also live in the Europa Conference League semi-final, first leg. Saka picks it up for Arsenal. Finds Jesus. Jesus, right-hand side, fires it in towards the near post and spooned behind by Pope.
Some tasty challenges in this game, but then the attacking threat of Arsenal is still there on the breakers. Fabian Schär loses the ball in a central position, and Jesus gets the Dan Burn in a 1v1 situation, drills it near post, and Nick Post just loses his bearings ever so slightly, doesn't take a chance on it, just pushes it round the post. Very unorthodox though.
Certainly looks to be a ferocious effort as it whistled and skimmed across the surface. Corner kick though to Arsenal. Far right-hand side, playing from right to left in front of the Leesy's end. It's an in-swinger. Pope pushes it away. Pulled back to Ødegaard. Plays it out towards Saka, right-hand side of the penalty area. Back towards the right corner of the area. Ødegaard delivers a left-footed cross. Pope claims it inside his 6-yard area. And Jesus and Arsenal retreat. And Pope holds on to the ball and then throws it out underarm. Just over 20 minutes remain. Isak. Such an eye-catching performance for Newcastle today. Finds Wilson. Trippier. Tierney rather. Putting enough pressure on Wilson. Isak now in the midfield. Wins it back for Newcastle. Trippier comes forward. Almiron on this near side, the right. Almiron plays it short. Looks for the return ball. Prevented from doing so by Martinelli. He was blocked off the ball, wasn't he?
His shirt was pulled, and Arsenal are on the counter-attack.
And now it's Martinelli running into that space that Trippier is struggling to get back into. Martinelli enters the penalty area. Martinelli goes towards the byline, fires it in, and finds the back of the net. Martinelli squeezes the ball home. Last touch probably came off Schär. Arsenal won't care about that. Martinelli with the assist, and all of a sudden, it's a cushion with 19 minutes remaining. As they close the gap on Manchester City at the top of the table. It's Newcastle United 0, Arsenal 2.
Well, it'll be surrounded with controversy from one end to the other. Martinelli with the pull on the shirt of Almiron. They don't care. Straight down the other end. Martinelli then gets in a 1v1 situation and he just glides past the defender and then he drills it hard and low and then it just ricochets in off the helpless shirt. But it's really positive play from Martinelli, who in the first half was really quiet, but in the second half he's grown into the game and it's been a really positive performance from Martinelli second half.
He fired it in low and there was nothing that Pope could do about that. And Arsenal now have a 2-goal lead. So as we were saying, that Cher own goal. And Martinelli with the assist. Here is Wilson, and that's deflated the atmosphere here inside St James's Park.
Yeah, it has, and you just wonder now whether Newcastle need to make a couple more changes, get Almiron on, get Saint-Maximin on, who could then pick up this crowd, breathe some creativity into the Newcastle team. It's been a good performance from Newcastle, but you have to say, so professional from Arsenal.
And the side with the best away record in the top flight are at it again. And it keeps their faint title hopes alive, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and many thought that, even in the media lounge before the game, everyone was saying we really fancy Newcastle here. I think everyone thought that Arsenal were on a run that was just spiralling and they couldn't get control of games and the nerves were getting to them. This has been very, very impressive today.
Well, also given Newcastle United's form at home, they've won 17 of their previous 24 here at St James's Park. The only 2 defeats were both against Liverpool. But at Arsenal are now leading by 2-0 with 16 minutes remaining. And I know that in recent weeks they've thrown away 2-goal leads at Liverpool and West Ham. But it would take a monumental collapse now for Arsenal to squander another 2-goal cushion with 16 minutes remaining.
Yeah, Eddie Howe's just made a tactical change. He's gone with a 4-4-2. He's moved Isak up front alongside Callum Wilson. That'll mean Joe Willock pushing out onto that left-hand side of the 4.
2-0 to Arsenal. And certainly will potentially offer encouragement for Liverpool or indeed Brighton. Don't forget Brighton, by the way, for a top 4. Maximum points that they could get is 73, albeit they're 7th, but they'll have 2 games in hand on Newcastle now. Still to play Newcastle too. So Newcastle United trailing 2-0, and Arsenal now a lot of the game management, if you like. The fact that Arteta has sat down in his technical area tells you that second goal was absolutely key for them.
It was key, but think back to that save from Aaron Ramsdale from Fabian Schär. Critical time in a game where it needed to be concentrated. Oh, they've nicked it again.
Tierney with the interception from Joel Linton's ball, but Joel Linton redeems himself. Almost gets caught on the edge of the area, not once but twice, towards Trippier. And Arteta making it clear for all to see with his appreciation for his team. I mean, the work rate off the ball has been so impressive.
It's been really impressive, and I said before start of the game that the midfield trio of Newcastle were perhaps stronger in physicality than Arsenal, but the way Arsenal have moved the ball quickly, effectively, and they just haven't been able to get a hold of Odegaard in this game, although he has been a little bit quieter in the second half.
Here is Joel Linton. Guimaraes to Almiron. Tierney staying tight behind him. Newcastle looking to make another change. Now it's with Guimaraes, back heels the ball. That goal though really has deflated the atmosphere here at St James's now. Guimaraes with the cross. Well, when Queen Elizabeth II on her coronation weekend in June 1953, that was the year that Arsenal were crowned champions of England after King Charles III Could they be champions of England again? It's still a tall order given Manchester City's impressive run of form. But they're doing all they can do, and that's all that Mikel Arteta would want from his players.
Yeah. Got to keep it alive, haven't they, as long as they can. Hope that Manchester City falter.
9 points that City require. You look at the goal difference, it's probably 8 from their remaining 4 games. So they're going to have to slip up at Everton, or at home to Chelsea, or on their travels at Brighton and Brentford. Here is Joe Linton. Arsenal's remaining games: Brighton at home, Forest away, and Wolves at home. As Willock comes forward for Newcastle, left corner of the area, and there is Ødegaard, and he'll go to ground, and it will be a free kick to Arsenal. Here comes Saint-Maximin and Gordon, so it's going to be a final throw really for Eddie Howe to try and salvage something from this game. Saint-Maximin, after missing the last 5 matches with a thigh injury. And as the changes are happening here, let's get the team news from West Ham. Jonathan Overend.
3 changes for both West Ham and for Manchester United. Starting with the visitors, Malacia comes in at left back for Dalot. Eriksson starts as well, as does Veghort up front. A little bit of a surprise for West Ham. Rice, Aguirre, Souček have all recovered from their illness, which forced them out of the City match. They come in for Sofal, Emerson and Fornals.
It's Wilson who's come off, and Willock who's off the field of play for Gordon and Saint-Maximin. There'll be updates from Jonathan, incidentally, from that 7 o'clock game. We've got the Miami Grand Prix at 8 o'clock, coverage on BBC Radio 5 Live, but we'll keep you in touch with West Ham, Manchester United. 2-0 though here with just over 10 minutes remaining. Ball seen back by Kivior to Ramsdale. I mean, both sides have had numerous chances in this game today, but you're quite right about that Ramsdale save from Cher's header. Jesus to Martinelli. Martinelli enters the penalty area. It bobbles for him inside the box. He turns with his back to goal. Left-hand side, trying to rock and roll away from Trippier, who's tight behind him. And now it goes towards Jesus. Jesus, the angle is tight. He gives it away. Guimaraes flicks it towards Trippier. Trippier goes down under the challenge from Jesus. It's a free kick to Newcastle United.
I'm just trying to work out Newcastle's shape since they've made the substitutions. It looks like Anthony Gordon is playing just off Isak, and Alan Saint-Maximin has gone out to that left-hand side of the midfield.
Double change is going to be made now for Arsenal. Trossard is going to come on, and it's going to be Thomas Partey as well. So Partey will come on for Ødegaard, the Arsenal captain who gave Arsenal the lead after 14 minutes, and Martinelli is the other player who makes way for Trossard. Just fresh legs for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, quite possibly. Interesting that he's bringing Ødegaard off, because he's the one who can retain the ball and keep hold of it under pressure. But he just wants to beef up that midfield and make it a little bit stronger, a little bit more robust in there by bringing on Partey.
And in fact, Newcastle are going to make their final changes now as well. At their third and final opportunity, they're going to bring on Matt Targett as well as young Elliot Anderson. So just the final changes made by Eddie Howe as his team trailing by 2-0 here on BBC Radio 5 Live.
Well, I wondered what Eddie Howe was playing in the system once that ball went dead, and you could see the system set up. It's actually a 4-2-3-1 with Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton sat deep, and then a forward or a 3 in front of them of Gordon, Almiron and Saint-Maximin, and then Isak up front on his own.
Newcastle playing out from the back. 9 minutes remain. Gabriel beats Isak in the air. Gordon catches Tierney, and Tierney goes down holding his head. It's a free kick to Arsenal. And now the double change can be made. Joe Linton's going to come off. It's going to be Elliot Anderson who's going to come on for him. Means that 18 of his 19 Premier League appearances this season have been as a substitute for the youngster. And then the other change is with Matt Targett coming on and he replaces Dan Burn, again like for like at left back. But it's the Arsenal supporters who are celebrating high up in the Leazes end with 8 minutes remaining. Job well done from Mikel Arteta and his team.
Yeah, so far there's still time to play though. If Newcastle can get one in the next couple of minutes, then we've got a real game on our hands. But professional, very professional from Mikel Arteta's team.
The only thing is, since that Ramsdale save from Cher's header, Newcastle haven't really created a great deal.
No, they haven't.
Just starting to tail off a little bit.
Just a little bit flat, isn't it? And that's why you were thinking, make the changes, get the crowd going, get the players on the pitch that can affect the game.
Here is Jorginho to Jesus. Jesus barged off the ball by Cher, and back it goes to Pope. Well, since he was appointed, his Premier League record, Eddie Howe here at St James's, reads 30 games, won 18, drawn 9, lost 3. This is going to be a fourth defeat, or only a fourth defeat, at home in the Premier League. 2-0 down. Guimaraes, Trippier, inside to Cher. The Newcastle's fixtures, as they look to try and see out Champions League football for the first time in 20 years. Leeds away, the lunchtime kickoff on Saturday. Brighton at home, Leicester at home, and then Chelsea away on the final day. So this is a scoreline that will be celebrated, certainly in the northwest, by Manchester United and Liverpool supporters. Anderson enters the penalty area. Anderson pulls it back. Almiron tees up Guimaraes. Guimaraes tries to set himself. Tierney though tracked him. Wanted too long. Guimaraes taken away off his toes by Tierney. Out to Saint-Maximin. White wins the aerial duel. Out it goes for a throw. Take that throw quickly on the left-hand side. Under 7 minutes remaining. Can Saint-Maximin create a bit of magic and set up a tense finish? He delivers the cross. Won't reach. Isak, and Anderson goes down, and he's told that's just a dive, get to your feet, as he was looking for a penalty. They've won it back on the edge of the area. Gordon a little bit too hard, and it runs away from Isak and through to Ramsdale.
Yeah, no penalty. Anderson trying to make the most of it. Granit Xhaka, huge grin across his face as he walks towards Anderson. He just tried to buy a foul. Buy a penalty? Absolutely not.
Ramsdale taking all the time with the clearance downfield, all in yellow. Is it one of those occasions where you go the fine margins when you think how close Newcastle have become to scoring 2 or 3 goals themselves here today?
Yeah, but you have to say as well the resilience from Arsenal in those first 10 or so minutes to weather the storm and know that the battering ram's going to come out, and you're going to have to be strong. You have to stand up to the challenge, win your battles, be physical, accept that that's going to happen, and then believe in what Mikel Arteta has set out to achieve and trust the process.
Guimaraes hits the ball early over the top towards Almiron. Ramsdale got there, had the ball taken out of his grasp. Chris Kavanagh says there was a free kick. Not sure that Ramsdale needs to roll around as he is at the moment, staying down on the ground, all in yellow away towards our right hand side.
Well, I'd like to see it again before I call it pathetic, because it doesn't look like there's much of a touch on him, and he has made the most of this, Aaron Ramsdale, and I don't want to see that. It's pointless, it's not needed. Now, if it's any more, I'll hold my hands up and say fair enough, but there's nothing in that at all.
I mean, all he did was literally knock the ball out of his hand, and then Ramsdale stayed down as if there was some sort of blow to the face.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. No need for that. You're a good goalkeeper, a good professional. Don't bring that into your game.
Arsenal are going to make a double change as well in the closing stages. Of course, the amount of changes that have been made in the latter stage of this game doesn't allow any team to get in any sort of a rhythm, which suits Arsenal leading 2-0.
Yeah, it does, but Newcastle have made changes as well, and they've disrupted the game. There'll be no rush from the 2 players leaving the pitch to get off in a hurry.
Nelson and Nketiah are the players who are going to be coming on, and it's Saka and Jesus who are the players who are going to be coming off. They turn to applaud the travelling support, and then the oncoming players Nketiah and Nelson both get a pat on the back from the manager Mikel Arteta.
Jesus must be shattered. The amount of running, closing down that he does off the ball, work great for his team. Not quite Saka's day, a little bit quieter than he has been all season.
Ramsdale clears long. Game back underway. 2-0. Free kick goes in favour of Newcastle United. Ironic cheers from the home supporters. 3 minutes remain. Trippier waits to take it. Goes square. Botman. And then the ball played back by Target. Just to the naked eye, it doesn't look, you don't sense like Newcastle United are going to score at this moment.
No.
Just petering out for them, isn't it?
Just running out of ideas, running out of individual brilliance at times. Isak's been quiet. It was something that was talked about in the media room before the game, was that sort of after 60 minutes he runs out of energy and quite hasn't got that ability to last 90 minutes at the moment, him and Callum Wilson, and that's been apparent in this game.
Here is Target. Saint-Maximin, he's been quiet really since he came on. Unable to produce hardly anything. Gordon's made little impact either. Guimaraes out to Trippier, near side the right. 2 minutes remain. Ball goes in field. Anderson balloons up from a little bit, but then lays it out towards Trippier. Now towards Botman. Arsenal, though, defending in numbers and defending very, very deep too. Anderson tried to get it towards Almiron, cleared away by Tierney. Just that little change from Tierney for Zinchenko. I mean, as a former left back yourself, as Tierney gets there, just seems to have tightened up Arsenal from a defensive point of view.
Yeah, it stopped that ball over the top, and Zinchenko at times struggles to get back in. Great on the ball athletically, is not quite as strong later on in a game.
So Maximin now opens up for him, drives forward, then leaves the penalty area, passes the ball to Trippier, right corner of the area, attacking the Gallagate end for Guimaraes, plays it in low. Nobody was there able to prop it. Just took a deflection to take it away from Isak, behind for a corner.
Yeah, I thought Isak was just going to take a gamble on it. He's caught on his heels, and it could have been a simple tap-in for him.
So it's going to be a corner kick, far side the left. Newcastle United 0. Arsenal 2. 60 seconds remain in this second half. Out-swinging corner. Bit of a scramble to get the ball away. Nelson hooks it further clear. Played back in by Almiron, and then the shot from Cher. He had a swing at that, left-footed on the half volley, and it just over the top of the crossbar. Ramsdale was in full flight. Goal kick.
Well, it wasn't pretty from Newcastle. It was just helped back into an area, and as it comes into Cher, he takes a touch on his chest and half volleys it. Ramsdale was scrambling. I think he would have got it if it had been on target in that top corner.
So Newcastle United's impressive run of form, where they've picked up 24 points out of a possible 27, winning 8 of those last 9 games in the Premier League, is going to come to an end during that spell. They lost, of course, at Aston Villa. Here it is going to be a rare home defeat against Arsenal, the side with a best away record in the top flights, who will move to within a point of Manchester City. 6 minutes of added on time, which we're now into. Here is Guimaraes, edge of the area, and Nketiah, everyone back for Arsenal. Guimaraes hoists it towards goal, and it drops safely out of play for a goal kick. Just feel as if Arsenal have seen the best that Newcastle can throw at them.
Yeah, I think that's it now. I can say that quite confidently with 6 minutes to go, but I just feel that like you say, they've run out of ideas, but credit to Arsenal, they've shut up shop, they've made it difficult to play through, they've nullified the best players and stopped the ball going into them. Newcastle haven't had any answers at all. Well, that's a headlock.
Yeah.
Wow, how's he not give that?
Well, that was akin to something you'd see in wrestling, and Arteta is absolutely livid as he berates the fourth official. as now Saint-Maximin. Oh, that went close. Edge of the area, got a touch. Corner kick.
Great save from Aaron Ramsdale. Had to make it. Newcastle take the corner quickly.
On the right-hand side, Trippier loses it to Trossard. And Trossard will just tidy up. And then he goes to ground, no foul. And it's with Anderson to Almiron. Goes with a chip, well claimed by Ramsdale. Arteta's actually having to calm down his bench. They're slamming the Perspex roof. Such was that decision that wasn't awarded.
Yeah, they were having a word with Anthony Taylor, and rightly so, because it was a headlock, and then they go down the other end and forces Aaron Ramsdale into making a save, because if that goes in, he could do the unthinkable and get a point out of the game and get a comeback in it.
When you assess Newcastle's performance, and they've lost 2-0, what do you think that Eddie Howe will make of the actual performance? I know he'll be disappointed with the result, but what about the performance?
I think it's just lacked a clinical edge, and I think overall first half was exceptional from not only Newcastle but Arsenal as well. It was very, very even. Newcastle could have been ahead. I think if they get that chance, I think they go on and dominate the game, but it's having that belief to stay in a game even when they go down against the top team.
Newcastle have been awarded a corner kick, far side to left. It's an outswinger and it's headed away by White as he looks down at the ground with his hands on his hips. Does Eddie Howe alongside Jason Tindall.
That's not been good enough today. The set pieces from Newcastle been very, very poor.
Xhaka heads it away. Trossard presents the ball back towards Almiron. Trossard slips. Almiron back to Guimaraes. Guimaraes then to Botman. Botman goes in field. Target collects the ball on the edge of the area. Can't squeeze it out towards an unmarked Saint-Maximin. Now they do get it out towards Saint-Maximin, who's got round the back of the Arsenal defence here. We're halfway through the 6 and he tries to play it in low, but Arsenal again working so hard, and it's forced behind by White for a corner kick.
Defends it really well, Ben White. Doesn't dive in, shows him where he wants, on his strongest side. Ben White's right foot makes the challenge. Another corner for Newcastle.
The Newcastle support right to the end. In it comes now. Ramsdale gathers in at the second attempt and then just drops to his knees. But Arsenal know. And significantly as well, as a former defender, we talked before about Saliba's influence. The first clean sheet without Saliba, that must give the Arsenal players a lift too.
It will do, and I think the relationship between the two centre-backs, Kiviol and Gabriel, has been done really well, complemented each other well, both good on the ball, defended in 1v1 situations really well, been aggressive with both Callum Wilson and Isak, and they haven't given them a kick in the second half.
2 minutes remain, and a lot of the Newcastle fans now are heading to the exits to walk their way out of St James's Park after seeing their side slip to defeat here this afternoon. So they will be on 65 points from 34 as it flares up again over on that far side. That was Trossard and Nketiah who were involved.
Nketiah and Schär gets up, shoves Nketiah. Nketiah turns round, shoves him in the chest back.
Always been that undercurrent throughout the course of the game, hasn't there?
Yeah, there has. A little bit of ill feeling between the two teams.
So just running through the positions for the 3 and 4 positions in the Premier League. Newcastle 65 from 33. Manchester United, of course, underway at 7 at West Ham, 63 from 33. But Newcastle, in fact, would be 65 from 34, wouldn't it, with this game? United then, Manchester United 63 from 33. Liverpool 62 from 35. Newcastle United 2-0 down. And we're inside the last 30 seconds here. Target easily cut out by Partey. Partey now will come forward. Xhaka. Ooh, that was a strong challenge by Botman on Xhaka. Xhaka felt that. In fact, he's giving a real accusing glare to Botman, isn't he? Is Xhaka. He's suggesting that he's gone over the top.
It's actually Elliott who makes the challenge. Just steps into Granit Xhaka and makes the challenge.
And there indeed is the final whistle. The managers shake hands down below, and Arsenal have moved within a point of Manchester City after a valuable 2-0 victory here at St James's Park. Ødegaard with the first goal after 14 minutes, and then Martinelli getting an own goal off Cher 17 minutes from the end. Newcastle hit the post twice. They had a penalty ruled out for VAR, and also Arsenal hit the crossbar. It could have been more. We promised you goals, we just had the 2. We'll hear more from Stephen Warnock after it's finished here. Newcastle United 0, Arsenal 2.
Stephen, what a game.
Brilliant. Just the quality from Arsenal came through in the end, but Newcastle gave it everything, just came up short, but from some brilliance from Aaron Ramsdale to keep them in the game, and huge saves from him, and that's what potentially gets you into that second place or helps you compete for a Premier League title.
2-0 doesn't even get close to telling the story. Ramsdale made some good saves. Nick Pope made an incredible number of great saves. Even though 2-0 tells you so little about that game, is it the right result, an Arsenal win in the end?
Well, yes, because that's the result at the end of it, but you have to say it was one of those games that, Deno said it in commentary, it could have been 3-3, 4-4, 5-4, whatever you wanted, and it could have been, I mean, it was a great spectacle, great game of football. What was nice though, Steve, as much needle as there was on the pitch, the managers at the end of the game both shook hands, huge respect for each other, and even the players now going round on the pitch, all embracing each other, hugging and shaking hands, because they know that was a real good battle between two good teams.
That fight now, Ian, for the top 4 is fascinating, isn't it? Manchester United have the chance to go above Newcastle when they play West Ham shortly, and Liverpool, well, they'll only played 1 game more and they'll be 3 points behind, so it's still very much on.
Do you want me to do my best Ian Dennis impression, because he's gone down to do the interviews with the managers?
Yeah, please go on.
No, I can't.
Do you think Liverpool have... I mean, how big do you think Liverpool's chance is in that situation? So it'll be 3 points having played a game more.
It'll be very difficult. They're relying on other teams, aren't they, to slip up and them to win every game. But this has been such a funny season, hasn't it, Steve, where we can't predict games. We can't look at a game and sort of, the old saying, put your mortgage on it, where you'd say, well, that's going to be a result today. They're a banker to win that game. It's been so up and down, so they'll need help, and they'll need to win their own games as well.
The only thing you can predict is Martin Ødegaard putting in fantastic performances.
Yeah, what a breathtaking player he is. Magical on the ball, so confident, so calm, and so much praise as a youngster. I can't remember many youngsters coming through, Steve, who were touted to be the next big thing and have fallen away. And he hasn't. He's really proven himself. Okay, didn't work for him at Real Madrid, but now he's come to Arsenal, he's captain, he's pushing them to get into a Premier League title and being outstanding all season, and arguably one of the players of the season in the Premier League.
Top man, Stephen, thank you very much.
Cheers, Steve.
Stephen Warnock alongside Ian Dennis at St James's Park, where Arsenal have won by 2-0. So Arsenal 81 points, 1 behind Manchester City. Of course, they have played 1 game more. Newcastle 3rd on 65, but Manchester United, as I say, have the chance to move above them later tonight. Liverpool 5th on 62, so 3 points behind, having played a game more. It might be that Liverpool's run comes just too late, but it's certainly going to keep this Premier League season very, very exciting.